from my side.
Okay, so
Let's
let
just
me just
start. Mm.
good morning, everybody. It's my privilege to welcome Mr. Ati Sobada. He is a paramedic and well versed in various um, courses. He's instructor for multiple courses, and that's why it's my privilege actually to welcome him. And we're just going to look at some of the scientific gaps that the American Heart Association, as well as their partners, ILCO, European Resuscitation Council, and I believe it's the American Red Cross. These are some of the gaps that they've highlighted concerning first aid. So, although he's an instructor for various other courses, he's also quite involved with first aid, the community, students at higher education, and so on. And hence, he will just share some of his thoughts. I didn't script this; is not a scripted, so he will be speaking from the heart, and I know he'll be getting very good insights from Mr. Ati's point of view. This is just a follow up on the Facebook post that I've posted, and here's my first guess. Perhaps next time we will be together in the same room, so the whole broadcast thing will be sorted. Since we had a bit of issues earlier to do a live broadcast. Mr. Aki, over to you. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mklegas. Your face was so blurry there.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's fine. So thank you for allowing me to share with your Facebook colleagues, friends, and family and constituents at large. Um, Yeah, so I think those who are within the emergency medical care, they will know that the American Heart Association, with collaboration um, with the European Resuscitation Council, on the 22nd of October, released 25 guidelines, which is basically for basic life support, advanced life support, pediatric life support, and they've kind of recently broke down those into pediatric and adult. And they also now have like a component which is neonatal life support, which may be in the space they're gonna try to create a course such as NALS, which was not under their jurisdiction before, apart having it as part five of the guideline. So, so what happened is that the ILCO, with the European Resuscitation Council, generated the first eight guidelines from all the trials and RCTs they've created or they've reviewed. Um, and they introduced so they created like a first aid guidelines, which is for first aid providers and for first aid courses, and how to pack or create a first aid kit.
Mm-hmm.
So they were basically about that, and then they also come with a very nice thing whereby they've mentioned that um, you need to have we need to actually, it comes into education, like provide first aid um
Mm-hmm.
from primary school at the age of 4 or 5 and above.
Okay.
So this is to instill confidence and also the children to grow up with the eager and um, yeah, eagerness
Mm.
to always learn about first aid and stuff. So which was very cool. Even though within the South African context, I still need to, it's been happening so many times where some emergency medical services, they'll make it as an outreach to go into some primary school to go teach first aid, and some high school as well, as I have done within the community of young all crossroads and such.
Mm.
Yeah. So. they have a new guideline, new uh, what you call diagram. I'm not sure if maybe my share slides. I know you said I didn't prepare anything, but I do
Yeah.
have slides of a document to share, so that I
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
so I can show. Um, let's see where to share now. So
Yeah.
I can sh
If there's any slide or any website that you want, go ahead. I actually wanted to also share something, but on what you were speaking.
uh,
But yeah, go ahead, sir.
all right. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Let me just make it to be screen presentation mode. Um. Right. So if you can see here, they had now this says first aid course. So this course, so what they were speaking about is mostly from the European Resuscitation Council, more as of HA side of it.
Mm, correct.
So there's also like a whole document, a PDF that I can share to you if you don't
Okay,
have
thank
it.
you.
Um, so trying to remove this thing now. It's blocking my view. Okay, there it goes. Um, so you can see that it says first aid. So this thing of not having my mouse with me. Um, it says first aid, and then so it is tailored for first aid courses. Um, to empower equity and focus on participation and setting. And then currently now they have like a structured assessment where they can also first aiders now must use the ABCDE approach,
Mm,
which has been used for training in the emergency core courses. And then how to use like how to manage life-threatening bleeding, which is under trauma, where you can escalate approach with manual direct pressure and thereafter hemostatic dressing or a tourniquet. Um, and they've have more uh, information on drowning, and also like how to remove foreign body airway obstructions.
mm,
So what is different from these new guidelines from the previous one? When it comes to pediatrics and adults, you were not advised to do back slaps. They're called back blocks. That's right. Um, back slaps. You either do the helmet maneuver or you do the abdominal thrust on pediatrics. Now
mm,
they say that you must escalate approach with cough, so you must ask the person to cough, cough. If they can't cough, then you can do the back slap and abdominal thrust on pediatrics, and
mm,
the helmet maneuver on adults. So, which is some very exciting things, and that people need to cater when they are providing training within their own setting.
mm.
Right. Um, I don't know to make it like as a presentation. I think it's more like a conversation,
Yeah, no,
but
true, definitely. That's absolutely doesn't
yeah.
need to be presentation.
Yes, yeah. So if you have questions, anything you want to add something, you can just
So
go ahead.
just in short, Mr. Sobada. So now they have all these changes. They've done a lot of research and so on, and those
Yeah.
bodies are sharing the information with each other.
Mm.
Um, Now, if someone did the CETA, the South African CETA accredited
Certificate.
courses,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Is that now outdated? And if you look at the QTCO, does that mean that person's certificate is outdated since we have all these, you know, research going on in the background?
Uh, I would say not really, but a person needs to go do a refresher.
Mm,
Because I think when you're doing first aid, you want to actually help. So if there's new updates, I think you want to know those new updates.
mm,
Uh, so that you can be able to offer the great help for whoever who needs your help around you. So um, with the QTCO, the new first aid course, They call
Mm.
basic first aid,
Yes.
which is a AQF4. So with that one, I'm not sure how many companies are already running it, but within the institution that I'm assisting with, we're looking at tailoring it using the new guidelines
Mm.
um, to 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 all our providers. Same
Mm.
thing with our BLS, ACLS, and Pulse, everything.
Mm.
We will be using the new updates, I think from next month moving forward.
I,
So yeah.
I also would like to tell the viewers, clients, and the enthusiasts in first aid that, like for myself and Mr. Ati, we are both instructors, and now since this new thing has been launched, all of us as instructors for the AHA courses, we need to go for the updates. So whatever discipline it is, if you're doing the pediatric course or the cardiac course, stroke course, whatever changes there, we all need to go for updates. So I've got many times, and maybe you also can share. Um, why do I need to do first aid again? Like you go to a company, organization, you're now the instructor, the service provider for them, and they will ask now, well, why must we do first aid again? It was the same like last year. Um, but now here we can see there's actually changes coming in.
Mm,
And even in
yes.
the specific way of how training, like how they advise training to be done, there's also quite a lot of recommendations, specifically looking at technology stuff as well.
Mm, yeah, that's true. And it's very exciting, but I want to share that using my slides.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna share again. Let's see. All right. But even though I have slides, you can stop me anytime, Mr. Carolas, eh?
No, no, that's all right.
Okay.
You actually made a lot of slides.
It's not a lot. Some of them just have to skip. There's nothing there. All
Uh,
right. So the like I think this slide alludes a lot more on what you were mentioning. So
mm,
what is like the purpose and the emphasis on the 2025 guidelines? So it speaks about the financial role of first aid, which is first aid is a very critical component for the survival chain performed by anyone in any situation. So it focuses on preventing cardiac arrest and reducing morbidity through
mm,
timely actions. So what happened now is that on the chain of survival, you will see the bystander recognition or stuff that what the first aid um, 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 features in.
mm,
And if someone goes to cardiac arrest that is witnessed by a person who has first aid or been trained in first
mm,
aid, there's high chances that person will have written of spontaneous circulation, which is host, which is more chances of survival. Um, so it's very important on how they've changed and trying to make sure that the education part of first aid is being pushed to more cadres within our
mm.
communities.
Just
So yeah.
just on a side note, that we want more people to learn first aid. From your organization, from the public, as a public provider of emergency care, um, what's currently happening from the EMS side?
So uh, so I don't want to speak more on organization side. I'm not sure what's happening in the background.
Uh,
Probably there is something because the public sector of the Western Cape have courses called EFA and CIFA.
mm,
Probably those. So with whatever guidelines they've changed, I think
yeah.
the very important stakeholders, people who are running those courses, will um, go through the updates as well, see
Mm,
how
mm,
they can cater for the public. But from my side, as a person who assists in the community when it comes to training, so through assistance of the CPU team. Uh, will be every year we usually do muscle bears,
Mm,
and we do the West Coast side as well, training, and then as well the community of
mm,
Munya. So that's why this is the reason why on that day we're listening, try to see what's new, so that when we go back to the communities, we give them the most update with.
okay.
Um, yeah, even though what we do is community outreach,
Mm,
but yeah, yes,
okay. No, no, thanks. But just that I want to share, and you've mentioned it that there's the EFA and the CFA course.
yeah,
Um, those are courses that is run by the province,
yeah,
where they try and reach out community members to empower themselves with first aid knowledge and skills. Okay, no, thank you.
yeah. So it's that, and then which comes back to the part um, um, of inclusivity and empowerment. So to try to address equity, accessibility,
Mm,
especially in the low resource settings, which is where we are in South Africa and some areas which is more low resource within South Africa itself, and
mm,
then empowering those individuals with confidence to provide first aid.
mm,
So this is the reason why the guidelines are there, all these new updates.
mm. Okay.
Okay. So I have key changes from 2021. Um, so if you can see here, as I've mentioned, that the 2025 guidelines emphasize categories chains of survival with integrated first aid steps early in the
Mm,
emergencies, which is stop the bleed as quickly as possible. Direct pressure, if you can't do direct pressure, use the hemostatic bandage, and you can even use a tourniquet. Before, tourniquet was a no-no when it comes to first aid. Now they're
mm,
trying to put it on into the new guidelines, but
mm.
that will require much training. But now
Yep.
there's going to be more talks as well with what how to regulate this. As not sure if you were listening to the EXA conference, hybrid conference that was there
Mm, mm,
when the outgoing president, chairperson of the board of the emergency care
mm.
board, Dr.
Association.
Sobua,
Yeah.
yes, was stating that there's some things that are not regulated within South Africa, which is one of his first aid within their board.
Mm,
So, but QTCO is probably one that will refer to when it comes to governing and regulating first aid for now,
mm,
because they're the one who
mm.
have a SACWA accredited course. So, so you're looking at like use of tourniquet is a very invasive technique. A lot can go wrong. Uh, if it's not done properly. People need to understand why use it, what are these side effects or the worst that could happen
Mm,
during the first aid training. Yeah. So I know like other developed countries, anyone can use, even the law enforcement can use tourniquets
mm.
they have within their bags. But this is the reason why it was included
Yeah.
into these new guidelines.
Cool.
And then currently now, with the new guidelines, they introduced the ABCD assessment protocol, which is airway breathing situation, disability, and exposure, uh, which was not a thing before.
Mm,
Um, teaching first aid. We're more teaching the ABC approach. The D and E was not there really. Yeah, but I think at some point somewhere we are ahead of of the European Association Council and the HA when it comes to training first aid. Because some of these things we're incorporating within the first aid.
mm.
Maybe it's because we have a background in emergency care.
Yeah.
This is why we thought this is important
Mm,
um, to to uh, to teach these things. Can I quickly the yeah. So I wanted to answer the phone, sorry. I was sending a message. Okay. And then and then the new medical interventions. So the guidelines now add pulse oximeter, which is what I was saying is excited. Now if you're a first aider,
Mm, mm,
you can own within your first aid kit a pulse oximeter. Um, and then you can use oxygen with saturation targets. South Africa, there's no way. I don't think it's going to be regulated where they're going to have naloxone or for opioid overdose management. That's still the American-based context,
mm,
or the European-based context where first responders, like the who are first
mm,
aid trained, like the police, can carry those things. But
mm,
within the South African context, maybe they can own a pulse oximeter to state um, the amount of oxygen saturation a patient or have, um, and then share that information to whoever that comes to the scene when it comes to the emergency care providers.
mm,
And yeah, it is going to be very nice for the first aiders to know that there is something called a pulse oximeter,
mm,
and then what does it do, and then what is needed if the oxygen saturation is very low.
mm,
Um, but yeah, so which is also tell us to a more training. I think with this context and us moving to an NQF4 first aid, it's going to be very important.
mm.
Um, and also as a bridge to the emergency care courses.
Just a
Yeah,
point on the pulse oximetry. A lot of people, and I'm just speaking general public, you know, people are already aware about pulse oximeter. You know, maybe there's a patient, a
yeah,
family member that's already using this thing. Maybe it's just a bit more specific information that they require. You know, like as we know, we got our false positives and negatives, and you know, there's also a lot of issues with the pulse oximeter.
yeah.
Aside from that, it's a very easy device to use, especially these ones that you just clip on the finger.
Hmm.
That can give you quickly a pulse rate as well as the saturation with it. Um, Understanding within the parameters and the shortcomings of a pulse oximeter.
Yeah, so that's true. And
Mm,
then like even I think there is like commercial oxygen level what do you call tanks as well. Uh where people who are known asthmatic will carry those things, will have those
mm,
things within their house,
mm,
homes. So I think with them stating now that first aid providers can also give oxygen, I think it
mm.
comes back from that there is commercial oxygen
Yeah,
equipment. It's not like a tank that you get from Alphax, but it's like kind of a device
yeah.
that's
Uh,
yeah.
it-
Yes, so maybe that's the reason why they said people can have
mm,
first aid, and the pulse oximeter. I mean, so they can have
mm,
pulse oximeter, and then they can also provide oxygen.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and then the next part was the choking management, which uses escalating um, techniques and which is the ones I've mentioned about abdominal thrust and back slaps, and now there's um, new things when it comes to environmental emergencies with detailed guidelines for first aiders. Something the
Mm,
emergency care community already knows, but for first aiders, it's going to be a new thing.
mm,
All right. Okay. So as always, first aid emphasize on scene safety.
mm,
So that is still there. Uh, and then the immediate emergency call, so which is the help, which is still kind of following the HHH
mm,
guide, hello help hazards or hazards hello help. Um, so which is you immediately call emergency, which is in our context is
Mm.
112, or if not 112 is
One zero one
10 10 10 10 177.
seven. Mm.
Yes, yeah. So you can call those numbers, and then you can do your ABCE assessment. Or you
Mm.
can ask. So what I usually say to people, if there are other bystanders next to you as a first aider, while you're assessing, you can ask them to call on your behalf. Uh, then you can state what's wrong as you are assessing, so that the most appropriate resource can be sent to you.
Mm.
All right, yes. And then, so responsiveness and oxygen monitoring. So they can assess responsiveness using the ACV-PU. You remember you usually have AVPU, but
Yes,
now there's a
F-book.
C. Yeah, so there's a C now for AVPU, just to check consciousness and
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
and then also the use of pulse oximeter.
Mm.
Okay, so now with the new guidelines uh, for first aid, so this is what most is going to be focused on. So it's going to be anaphylaxis interventions, shocking
Mm.
responsive, asthma attack aid, chest pain management, hypoglycemia. The overdose, I don't think within South African
Yeah.
context is going to work. And then the stroke recognition. They are still speaking about the fast method or fast way of approaching or
Mm.
recognizing stroke. I know we already in the institution I assist, we already teaching the Be Fast approach,
Mm.
which is balance eyes, face, arm, speech, and time,
Mm.
to quickly identify stroke signs. Because the
Mhm.
fast has like a small number that it can miss for people who
Yeah.
are actually having stroke. So we're pushing more the Be Fast method.
Mm.
And then the new one now, which was not really there before, the first was there, but it was the suicidal thought support. As we know, currently since 2020, during COVID and moving forward, there's been a lot of um, um, mental health illnesses.
Mm.
Maybe they were there before, but they became more prominent, and many people knew about that there is mental
Mm.
health illnesses.
Yeah.
They also included as part of first aid a suicidal thought support. So, which is to engage empathically and ask the right questions, offer hope, and contact emergency services if needed.
Uh,
So it's people, yes,
no, no, no. Finish your statement. I'll just come in there.
no, no, it's okay. You can continue, I
I
guess.
think I think a lot of it also comes down to if you look at this, there's another course that runs quite frequently. They call it the mental health first aid that deals a lot with depression and stress and
Yeah,
anxieties and stuff like that. Um, uh, now, obviously, that specific course is generally not what is part of the whole first aid. But I think it's good if they bring these aspects in because people undergo tremendous amount of pressures,
mm,
and you can understand. If you look at the unemployment and all these type of things, people are caught in this situation of high depression and so forth.
yes,
That's a very good one actually. The suicidal aspect of it.
yeah. Yeah. So while we're still on the topic, I just want to make sure that people also understand within the South African context, if you have suicidal thoughts, or if you know someone, you can always contact the hotline.
Mm,
So you can quickly go online and check the number
mm.
for um, um, suicidal hotline.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I think the number is quite simple, but I can't remember it right now.
Uh, oh,
Um, yeah, but you can quickly then it comes straight on top of of your Google. As soon as it says suicide hotline, um, yeah, it's 0800 567 567.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the number. That's why I said it's new. What's the repetition of numbers?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really support this. And as we here in South Africa as well, we had some cases where um, we see the rise in number of suicide and in mental health illnesses as well.
Mm,
So so a first aid, I would try to equip them as well to be able to assist in those emergencies.
mm.
All right.
All
Okay.
right.
And then yeah, and then another thing that I think is quite important, yeah, and the others have been there before, uh, when it comes to managing
Mm.
um, these
At chest pain.
yeah, these emergencies. But one that we usually state to them um is hypoglycemia. We usually tell them get like a peanut butter sandwich or
Yeah.
like a jam, or buy them Coke.
Yeah.
But now they can first aid within the first aid kit. They can have
Mm.
um, the 2 grams or is it 20 grams of glucogel
Yeah.
within their first aid kit. So the reason why I said this new um, um, guidelines, they're emphasizing on what to have in your
Mm.
kit, what to teach as a first aid provider or instructor, I mean,
Mm.
and what you need to do as a first aid provider.
Mm.
So it's that, and then when it comes to trauma, nothing really changed. You stop the bleed, direct pressure, use a hemostatic bandage. Just make sure you have gloves on.
Mm.
And then there's a new introduction of the tourniquets. And then when it comes to environmental emergencies, so we speak about driving rescue safety. Uh, and then you speak about post-drowning first aid. Uh, which is to administer 5 rescue breaths if unresponsive and not breathing, and then proceed with CPR. And then we speak about hypothermia management,
Mm.
speak about heat stroke cooling, and we also now speak about snake bites responsive.
Yeah.
And I know in South Africa, there's a lot of courses currently going as well when it comes to handling snakes, all those things.
That's right.
But now to first aid as well is being introduced with a
Mm.
snake bite response. But
Mm.
then I don't want to share a lot.
No, that's fine
Uh,
because I want to
yeah,
get more speakers that goes maybe a little bit more in detail,
yes,
in
yes, yeah,
which ever topic that they are experts in or very experienced in it. But yeah,
yeah,
um, just before you wrap up, just to let also all the viewers know that these are the changes that happen with the American Heart Association first aid. So that's a first aid that is not currently required for labor, your Department of Labor, and your for your work environment. However, with that said, also the changes that has taken place or that they're introducing is actually very good. And I wish that these updates will come quite soon in our South African setting, so that the service providers will update their clients in with regards to the different tools and the techniques and methods and so on.
yeah. Thank you, Mr. guys. I think to try to wrap it up.
Mm,
So this whole new guidelines is more about providing first aid course
mm,
that is going to be adaptable to the local context, which is we have to take whatever they say, give it
true.
back to our context, and see
True.
does it fit for South
Mm,
Africans, for South African communities, because we have diverse socioeconomics and cultural groups.
mm,
Now, yeah, you have to tailor it for those people. And then, and also like training, which includes managing anxiety, moral distress related
mm,
to providing first aid support, and uh, as I've mentioned, with the new kids guide, like
mm,
to stock for our kids. Now they say can even put items like tourniquets within the kids.
mm,
For South Africans, we don't have naloxone. Those first aiders can get naloxone. They can even they cannot get auto injector epinephrine as well. I saw they've mention it for anaphylaxis within these new guidelines. And then just for South Africans as well to know that they're also covered by the Good Samaritan law, which protects first aid providers acting in good faith, just for legal awareness education, because there's always ethical questions when it comes to first aid.
Yes.
So basically, it's that in Mhlekazi.
Uh,
Yeah, that is kind of new um, to first aid. But I think what's very new is when it comes to management of emergencies and then providing like a good structure on how to run first aid course
mm,
and also how to make sure your kit um, um, is stocked for first
yeah.
aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those who have done first aid before, like with me or with other people, know that we usually have like a list of what
Yeah.
we need to have. Then now
Definitely.
we're gonna include these things as well,
Mm,
or some that is eligible for a first aid in South Africa to have.
mm.
But basically, starting figures. Yeah, I don't know if you have questions for me.
No, that's interesting, and thank you for your time. I mean, you did way more than what actually the assignment. I don't know how much marks you're gonna get for this, but but thank you so much. And I
Yeah,
think once we post this video, since our technical issue, I would like actually to encourage the enthusiasts, the viewers, to post the questions, and I'll take these questions and I'll go and try and find the experts. If I can't answer them, like I'm not a snake expert, for instance, I'll try and get someone who's well versed about snakes and come and speak
yeah,
about snakes. If that, bear in mind also we're going into the summer season, so there's a lot of snake activities. What I see in our local community, so that might be an example as a topic. And I think one more thing that we could add is since it's also the summer season, water safety. People coming from inland down to the coast, and they're not, for instance, um, aware of rip currents.
mm,
So stuff like that. I think I would like to have some conversations as soon as we finish with the AHA update things. Maybe we can start planning some things on the background, and just have short sessions and just introduce these things. But
yeah,
once
sure.
again, Mr. Sobara, I appreciate your time. I really think that the dynamic that you brought to us, these are the new stuff. People might just think it's small little changes, but there's so much research that actually goes in, and what Mr. Sobara is speaking about is actually research driven. It's not just I did it 20 years this way, and that's why it's like that. There's actually a lot of substantial amount of research behind it, and I think that is a testament to just looking at the emergency medical service and the industry, that it's not a cowboy thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. No, thank you, Fegas. Yeah. Yeah. So I also try to follow you if you're gonna post the video, and then if there's question, I can answer there as well.
Mm.
If your audience have questions for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm happy to support and assist wherever I can. Right.
We'll try to get this live thing right, and maybe people, we can just answer them live there.
Okay.
Or perhaps maybe share this link, uh, a Teams link like this, and maybe they can just join in as well. Um,
Yeah. Mm, mm.
all right.
All
Thank
right.
you, and have a
Thank you.
fantastic day. Keep